Welcome to InventorCam Professor. I'm Sydney, your InventorCam Professor, with one of hundreds of online video tutorials available free at www.inventorcam.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My goal is to be your personal InventorCam mentor, always available to show you the best ways to get to where you want to go in InventorCam. In this session, we'll be showing you the new and improved options that we've added in turning. We'll start by turning the outside diameter of this part as shown here. We'll go into operations and add turning, and we'll choose the option of turning. Now, when we choose our geometry, we'll choose the option of solid to pick our geometry on the solid itself and click on define. We'll start from this surface and we'll end on this surface. And as you see, the geometries are built on those surfaces in between. We'll accept it and we'll click on finish. In our modified geometry, we will automatically extend to stock at the start. And at the end, we'll just extend it by 5 millimeters as shown over here, and we'll click on OK. Note also the face of our geometry window. It is all cleaned up, and all you have over here right now is material to be cut from our positive side or from the negative side. Next, we'll choose our tool, and I'll use the tool that I've already created over here and select that. Now let's go into our technology field. If we take a look at our technology field, you'll note that we cleaned up this entire area over here, and instead of all the little buttons that we've had in, all the little windows, we've changed that into different tabs to make this area a lot cleaner. In our general, we have our work type, where we can choose either rough, and then you can see rough on top over here. If we choose copy, you'll see that this field has changed into copy. And if we choose finish only, you'll see that we only have the semi-finished finish tab without the copy or rough. Let's just change this back into rough. And now we'll open our rough tab. Now, in our rough area, we can see all the options that we need for roughing. But let's take a look now at the rough type. Before we've had smooth and stairs, but now we've also added a new option called ramping. What ramping allows you to do, as shown in this picture, is that the tool actually starts from the step down, and then as it goes across, works its way up to the top, going back then and cleaning the rest of the surface. We'll explain this a lot better when we see the actual simulation. Now, in my step down, the ramping, because of the way it works, I'll allow it to use a bigger step down, say 3 millimeters. If we go into our semi-finish, we'll leave it exactly the way it is right now. And let's go into our strategies. In our strategies now, we have the option of descending motion going into grooves or non-descending motions. I'll choose at this point the option of non-descending motions. Now, let's go into break edges. In the break edges option, which is a new option, we've added the option of adding chamfers or fillets to our corners, whether it being internal corners or external corners. And as you can see in this part, we have an internal corner over here, and here we have an external corner. So if I want, I can say internal corners, and in my internal corners, let's have it as a fillet. And I'll add a fillet of 2 millimeters so we can actually visually see this a lot better. Now, for my external corners, let's have this at a chamfer. Now, in our chamfer, we can have it either at an angle distance, as shown over here, or distance. Let's have it at angle distance, choosing a 45-degree angle and a 2 millimeter length chamfer. Now, if we click on our preview button, as shown over here, you can actually see the preview of the fillet and the chamfer. We just do save and calculate and run our simulation. Now we'll use our turning option to see our simulation, and we'll zoom in to this area as shown over here. Let's do this one step at a time. As you can see, the tool will first go down. It's gone down 3 millimeters. Now, as it goes across the part, you'll note that it ramped its way up. This is the ramping option. Actually happening over here, and the advantages of this is that when it starts cutting, it starts on the full surface as shown over here, then gradually works its way down. Thereby, what actually happened is the chip load changes on the edge, allowing for less wear and tear on the edge itself. We go back, and as you see when it goes down, now it'll go straight and doing just the opposite, having a small chip cut over here and a larger one over here, again having a less of a chip load on each individual area. As we continue, see now it'll go up, do that chamfer like I asked it to do, and now let's run it all the way until the end. As you can see, it's doing the ramping all the way down, and when it gets these areas over here, you'll note that it does not go into them because we chose not to descend into those areas. We'll do that with a separate operation. And as you can see now, the entire part outside of this area was finished. Now, in order to show you the full strength of the ramping option, I've taken a different part where in this particular case, the ramping has to act differently in this area over here. Whereas this area, it has to ramp from a large step going up to this step. But in this area over here, it has to start from a small step and then go down to a large step and then straighten out. Let's take a look at the simulation. And if we use our turning simulation, you'll see that the ramping in the beginning starts exactly the way I said. It starts in a large step and then goes up. But now let's take a look in a moment what happens in this area over here. You'll see now it takes a small step and then ends up in a large step. And then if it goes back, take this large step into a small step. That's the full power of the option of ramping, saving your tooltip to last a lot longer by, again, lessening the load on the edge of the insert, as shown over here. Another improvement we've made within our turning operation is when we use a grooving tool. If I have to start another operation of turning, I'd like to turn this groove over here. We'll choose my geometry. This is the first wall I will work on up until this wall over here, and accept that. The tool that I will be using will be my grooving tool, which I've already created. And let's go into our technology field now. In our technology field, we'll choose the option of rough. And when we go into rough, we'll choose the option of ramping. Now, this time in ramping, I use the option of zigzag instead of one. We'll run our finish operation here as well using the turn groove method. And let's take a look what actually happened in our simulation. If we look at our simulation using the turning option, you'll see that the tool goes in and actually zigzags its way in the ramping fashion, thereby also having the option of changing the point of contact on the tool itself as it zigzags its way down to the bottom. And then, of course, it does its finish step to complete this. For more InventorCam Professor tutorials, please go to our website, www.inventorcam.com, and look under the tab called InventorCam Professor. Thank you for joining us on InventorCam Professor. Take care and have a nice day.